Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xerath Prevails. Guys, today we're going to talk about Zetas and Omegas, and characters that I think maybe you should consider maybe not applying them to. I'm not going to talk about, characters that are already worthless, at least right now. Like Eth Koth, without a rework, he is worthless. Don't put any Omegas on him, for instance. But we're not going to focus on them. We're going to talk about relevant characters who, some of them, it's like there are good and bad things about each of them, and frankly, I just want you guys to be informed, especially Getty Mundy. There is one I just jumped into cavalierly without even considering. I just threw all the Omegas on, and honestly, that's not the wisest choice. Would I do it again? Probably. I'm lazy. I don't want to read the kits first. I just want to click buttons. But that being said, I do think that some of these bear some thought. So we're going to talk about one Zeta first, and then we're going to talk about Omegas. You'll note that I've applied every single one of these. So I want to save you guys some grief, though, especially on Getty Mundy. Guys, there's one that you should not apply on him, in my opinion. So let's first talk about that Zeta. So it may not be news to a lot of you, but this is important. His basic has a Zeta, and that's fine. That's cool. I guess it's not that cool, for being honest. But look what his initial ability does. So all of his attacks do things like increase cooldowns and stuff. This one, it can't be evaded. It ignores defense, so it never misses, and it ignores armor and stuff. So it hits pretty hard. And if it's its first move, then he goes again with the same move. So it never misses, and it ignores armor. Pretty sweet. If you give him his Zeta, so he always does his basic move first, his big hit first, or his normal hit, whatever. Then he goes into, he uses telekinesis, and telekinesis can miss, and it just does a crit on enemies with armor shred, and if they're dazed, they reduce our cooldowns a little bit. It's okay. It also ignores defense, so this is okay, but it misses, and this is huge for the kind of teams he wants to counter. There's a lot of times there's Foresight up or something. I just think, I don't know, I go back and forth. I applied it pretty early on, and I haven't really had a ton of cause to regret it, but it is worth noting that maybe it's not all the way worth it to apply it. I just like that it never misses without it. I would probably take it off right now if I could. I mean, I'm sitting on 6 Zetas right now anyways, so maybe that's egregious. I don't know, but I wanted to bring that to your attention. Okay, so BB-8 is one that I haven't decided yet on, frankly. So the one that I'm talking about, this is an Omega, and this is the one that I caught early on. I read the kit, and I did not apply it. So if all active droid allies, or active allies are droids, then he gains a taunt for 1 turn. And that's, I don't know, on some levels it's good, some levels it's bad. There are some all-droid teams out there now, and now that once he uses his ability here, he will be taunting for most of the time after he starts doing that. And so, some of that's good. He's got Foresight and everything. When he gets hit, he hits him back. He calls someone to assist sometimes. That's good. But on the other hand, you have this guy who's a support character, and he's taunting suddenly. He's not necessarily super resilient. He can be annoying to kill, but do you really want to invite that kind of aggro to him? I'm not sure. I did apparently at one point think it was a good idea, so I'm stuck with it. This is one of those things that it's sometimes I wish you could just turn an ability off. Just click, don't want this Omega for this battle, I'll just decline to use this Omega. But one way or another, you need to give it some good, serious thought before you actually apply it, because I don't want you to get stuck taunting when you don't want to be taunting. You know what? I say I don't care, I don't want that, and the fact is, I just don't care. You guys can get stuck with it. I'm stuck with it, so you can too. All right, next is Echo, and now I'm trying to remember: is it his unique or his special? Special is a good one. Let's see. That's his Zeta. Okay, so it must be his unique then. So, all right. I figured it out, guys. I had to pause there for a minute because I was like, that actually looks kind of useful. So it's his basic though. So it adds extra damage if he has critical damage up. And I think there are ways you can get it to him if he's not with 501st, but you always want him to be with 501st. Like, and 501st doesn't have a way. They don't have a way to give him critical damage up. So this is kind of a like dead ability. It doesn't do anything. I know that CG had said that when they reworked him, that they had initially planned on giving someone crit damage up and decided it was overpowered and took it away from whatever character that was. And therefore his ability is just kind of left by the wayside. Like it's not that useful ever. Like he's not a pilot, so that doesn't do him any good. So maybe just don't apply it unless you're really bugged by the little red dot there, in which case I can understand. Alright, now Hux is one that looks fantastic, but given the greater context of things, you might want to reconsider. So you have his basic here, and his basic seems really good. So it's like, okay, he does damage and whatever. Whenever he shoots, let's see. Yeah, so he does damage to him and gains 25% turn meter. It's like, hey, he's 25% faster. That is amazing. Especially if he's called to assist, like he'll get more turns. Wonderful. That's what you want, right? From your support character. That's absolutely generally what you want. However, this gaining turn meter is bad because he is a character who always goes with Supreme Leader Kylo eventually. Now, you may not have Supreme Leader Kylo when you want this ability. If you're not using Kylo, if you don't plan on getting him, if you're like Clash and just hate First Order for some reason, then no one can really quite understand, including him. Maybe you just apply this, I guess. Like that's fine. It's a good ability. I would love it on a lot of characters, but with Supreme Leader Kylo, what it does, if he gains turn meter from doing that, then he's going to be losing his max health, and eventually he just dies. He dies to a breeze or something. I couldn't come up with something clever. Even though there's like a million dice to die. There's a million ways to die in the West, I've heard. So, I can't think of anything though. A breeze is what I've got. So, yeah. He's don't do his basic, guys. If you're planning on getting Supreme Leader Kylo eventually, this basic actually actively hurts him. Getty Mundy, guys. He is super fun. I have him relicked. He's been killing things left and right for me. 3v3 is his place. Wonderful. Really cool. Even has a like little bit of hair, apparently. Who knew, right? So, one of his uniques, not that one, that's his Zeta. Yeah, here we go, guys. So, here's the issue. He's an attacker. He does damage. He's not necessarily super resilient. Like, he's fine. Like, you know, he can take his licks. He's not super weak, but he's not the guy you want to be tanking things. Like, Jedi have enough tanks. You're good. You don't need him to be taunting. And part of it's like, okay, so the reason he's doing that, he changes his form, and then he's taunting, and he also has retribution. So it's like, hey, come hit me. Oh, you hit me. I'm going to hit you back. And that's cool. But you don't want to invite that. You really don't want that, especially if you're doing a territory battle. You just don't want that taunt. Like, that's one I wish I could remove permanently. But I can't. I'm stuck with it. He's going to be taunting to the end of his days, which are probably going to be a lot sooner than otherwise because, he's going to be taunting. So, all right. So here's one of the gray area ones, guys. So original Poe Dameron, his basic. We've got a lot of basics here actually today. It's interesting. I didn't really catch that until I was making this, but Poe, look at how much damage it adds, plus 5%. He is not known as an attacker anyways. Well, maybe he's technically an attacker. No, he's a tank, but he doesn't do much damage. Like, he does exposed stuff, he does tank, I guess, he taunts, he facilitates. He's not a great character, but he's fine, whatever. That plus 5% damage for 5 Omegas, I don't know. If you have a ton of Omegas, if you're totally super far endgame, this is, I guess, fine. But you're not going to notice any difference. He's not going to change anything, really. And you're going to be out 5 Omegas. The one caveat that I will say to this, guys, is that Omega still does impact his ship. And if you want him to hit as hard as he does, which you probably do, like, he's actually under Radis. Radis is a much better capital ship than we all used to think when it was originally released. It's actually better than Finalizer. Everyone thought Finalizer was the new hotness. But anyways, under Radis, he does some really crazy stuff, and that Omega actually does add a significant amount of damage in terms of how much an ability gives. So, I mean, you can see I don't super value the damage. I don't have 6E mods on him, but that Omega, there is an argument to be made to place the Omega just for the ship damage. I believe that's originally why I did it, in fact. So, something to keep in mind. That's the other piece of all of this is Biggs. Also wants... Wow, I can't talk, guys. I'm not even going to cut that out, though. So, Biggs has a unique where he gains evasion up for 3 turns after he survives damage from Empire or is crit from any enemy. So he's gonna, if they do an AoE every once in a while, he's just gonna constantly have evasion up. And if you want evasion up, that's great. I'm glad for you that you found a use for evasion up. I still haven't really, but one way or another, if you really want it, for 4 turns, so it's already 3 turns, do you really want it to go up to 4? Like, is that going to be a game breaker, like a deal breaker? How many turns is Biggs going to get anyways without getting hit? Like, 3 is enough, 4 is crazy. Like, he probably won't take 4 turns in a fight. Like, he'll probably die first. Like, doesn't make any sense. However, once again, he's a pilot. He might be worth it if you want that extra survivability on him or something. I actually think that's a good reason to do it. Frankly, I think that's a good reason to do it. Again, you don't see I don't have 6E mods on him. That could boost him more, but I can probably, honestly, I can probably spare Omegas at this point in my gaming career. I can spare Omegas more than I can spare 6E mods. So, that's it, guys. That is all. I just wanted to, I mean, most of you watching this are just, you've already applied them. It's too late. I know. I get it. But, Getty Mundy is definitely one that I may be able to save you guys from yourselves. Other ones, just something to think about if you're starting a new account, if you have a friend who's just starting to play, whatever. It's just good to keep your eyes open, guys. You know, CG does a good job on kits in general, but they're going to miss sometimes, and every once in a while you'll find an interaction that just isn't worthwhile or whatever. So, I guess I can give you guys a bonus. We should give you a bonus, I suppose. It's kind of dumb. Here's the bonus, guys. It's Rose. Don't apply Omegas to Rose. Not because her abilities are terrible. They are. She's horrible. She is awful. But I think... Gosh, now that I'm going to say it out loud, I'm embarrassed. I think it's because the Rancor doesn't like the taste, though. We don't want to piss the Rancor off too bad. If everyone's feeding Rose to the Rancor and he doesn't like Omegas, much less a Zeta, definitely don't put a Zeta on her. Don't do it, guys. It's like the cheesiest joke I've ever made, I think. And I've made some pretty cheesy ones. I'm sorry. You guys are the ones who have to watch this, though, not me. So that's good. Alright, guys, I am going to let you go before I do anything else spectacularly stupid. So thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Zareth prevails.